Good morning, everyone. Webinars are probably one of the most powerful tools in an entrepreneur and business person's arsenal. In this episode 26 of our series of webinars from We Speak, I'd like to take you through the ability to take a webinar and a free webinar into a paid masterclass and hopefully onto a online conference. My name is Eugene. I am the head of We Speak, and I'm going to take you in this episode through everything, and you guys are welcome to interact. So before we start, let me just quickly explain to you the interface that you are currently working with. This is our webinar platform. If you look on the, let me just see now, the right-hand side, if you're on a desktop, you will see there's a chat portion and polls. You guys can leave me a message. I've currently turned the chats into a private session, so you can't see your one another's chats, but you can. I can see them, and I definitely like you guys to invite you to interact. How's it, Philip? I see you guys are there. And also tell me where you're from. I'd really like to hear where you guys are from. I see there's a Simon from the UK. Wow, it seems that you probably responded to my LinkedIn invitation. But again, thanks a lot for taking the time. In South Africa today, it's Freedom Day. I did not realize that. I must add, I did not realize that when I set up this webinar. So we'll see how many people join in. But again, thanks a lot. During the webinar, after every session, it's not a long webinar, I will start a poll, and I really encourage you guys to get onto the polls as I fire them off to do. Lastly, I don't have a moderator today, so I apologize if I have to start my own polls, but maybe it's a bit of a demonstration of how easy it is to run a webinar with We Speak on your own. So let's get going on this episode. Where I want to start is basically just by definition, what is a webinar? So We Speak is obviously a webinar platform that allows speakers a platform. I always want to refer to it as a Netflix. Well, that's what we're trying to build, is the Netflix of webinars. But by definition, a webinar is effectively a seminar that is presented in a video format, relatively interactive, where people can ask questions, but using video-based technology over the internet. So the interactive side of a webinar is mostly around running polls like we're going to do. You guys can run chats. Oh, there we've got another Simon. Wow, two Simons on this from Cape Town. How's it, Simon? Yeah, so the interactive side of a webinar is mostly aimed and isolated towards polls and chats and handouts and slides. And so I'm going to start off my slides here. And let's go to the welcome side, and we on our first slide. So the problem with webinars historically, and obviously our world has changed. So there's what we refer to as a new norm. But prior to this, there were predominantly three problems with webinars. The first one is that because it's a webinar, it's always been advertised as being free, which works as a marketing tool, but it's very difficult to monetize anything that's free in that sense. The other problem is because webinars have always been free, it's been associated with hard selling. In other words, there are obviously a lot of public speakers out there now. I think some of them have probably overused the marketing side of a webinar, but people associate it, if it's a free webinar, that there's going to be some kind of hard sell, there's going to be some kind of upsell. I'll address that now, Philip, thanks. There's going to be some kind of upsell and hard sell, and then most of it, the webinar doesn't really give you anything apart from at the end, click on this and buy my CD or register or something. So there's nothing wrong with upselling. There's nothing wrong with doing a sale, but the problem is if the whole webinar's aim is to sell stuff, then it sort of loses what it's intended for. And then a lot of webinars actually carry no value because of that. So I've attended hundreds of webinars, and I always try and attend webinars and see what they offer. And I must say 99% of it are really disappointing, where I'll leave halfway through, because I can see that the guy is just selling. He's building up the sales pitch, ultimately to sell something else, but I'm really not walking out with anything else. So before we go on, I'm going to do the first poll here quickly. And this is what happens if you if you run your own webinar on a holiday. So the first question I've got for you guys is, do you enjoy webinars? So yes, let's see from the different voters. I prefer them. Not sure that there we've got seem to be a competition. I like the fact that from the three answers, yes, I prefer them. Not sure that they seem to be quite balanced, and I'm very glad to say at this stage, between quite a couple of votes, no one's gone for not really. Well, I'm very glad to hear that, and it obviously shows that you guys have been involved in the video side, and it'll be interesting. I haven't got a poll for it, but it'll be interesting in the chats if you guys can mention if you found that the free webinars follow that format. In other words, rather hard pitch and hard sell. I've definitely found that. So I'm just going to go back to my chats here. Okay, so the next portion of building up on how to turning your webinar into a masterclass is, let's quickly look at where we are now. So obviously we definitely in South Africa, we've got a couple of guys that are joining us from overseas, but it's very interesting that I read somewhere over the weekend that 4.5 billion people are currently in lockdown. I think nowhere in our lifetime will it happen. Well, maybe it'll happen again, but it hasn't happened. So we've got a lot of people sitting at home. We've got a lot of people either bored. I must say, I don't know about you guys, I've never worked so hard in my life, or in a long while. But because of that, people are reaching out towards new mediums, new methods. And video-based, as I said in the beginning, video is probably one of the most powerful mediums you've got. But the video is basically broken into four, interactive video is broken into four categories, being streaming, meeting, speaking, and training. So let's quickly look at them. The first video method is to stream. You guys know Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming. The primary intention of those platforms is more one-sided. In other words, giving your message out. What is great is Facebook lets you know, but you still have to sort of follow and search and stuff. But it's basically a one-directional thing. Yes, you can do likes and thumbs up and stuff like you guys can do with me now, but the main intention is a one-directional thing. Then you've got your meeting platforms, which are all around setting up a meeting, such as Zoom, Hangouts, Skype, Teams from Microsoft. And those platforms, yes, they can do quite a lot of attendees, but they are aimed at sort of everyone sitting around a table, virtual table, and then meeting with one another. And then you've got your speaking platforms, which are predominantly webinar-based, which is your seminar type of thing. I stand on a stage and I talk towards the audience, but I can also get a little bit more feedback. And then finally, you've got your training platforms, which we've got an e-learning training company called Tewit Online Learning, and your training companies are obviously more aimed at preloading e-learning content and selling it. So I just want to add that there's commonality between all these platforms, and there's sometimes a discussion about, yes, but streaming is also interactive because you can talk on stream. The problem is you don't have control over that talk. So what I try and do is I look at what the basic application is for each of those platforms. As an example, if I do a staff meeting, I won't use this platform. I'll use Zoom. We're big Zoom fans, and we use Slack. But if I do this type of presentation, obviously I've invited you guys to join me on a webinar. The same for streaming. I used to do streaming, but not so much now. And obviously we do e-learning as a company. So my next poll, I'm quickly going to start here, is on the question, in your current situation, I know you guys can do all of them and they're all to your disposal. But my question is, which one in your current situation would work best for you? Would you be more interested in streaming? Would that work better for you? Or Zoom? I think most people that didn't use Zoom are quite used to Zoom now, especially people that work for businesses that are now forced from the lockdown to work at home. Then there's obviously webinars, and then there's training with e-learning. So it's clear from your answers that the clear winner is Zoom. I think it's probably because most people are now locked down and meeting. I mean, I'm doing 6 to 7 meetings a day. I don't know about you guys. You guys are welcome to tell me. It's interesting, maybe in the chat side, give me a indication of how many meetings you guys have each day. Because I mean, I'm up to sort of 6, 7 a day, and that is between the work that I do. So I've got a question coming through here. I see Philip, you mentioned the camera quality. I don't know if it's better now. The camera quality to the Demio webinar platform we use is high definition. It might be on the downside, but also the camera quality adapts according to your stream. And then we've got, Renee, 1 or 2 a week. I mean, you're very lucky. I wish I had 1 or 2 meetings. And then I've got a question from Dion, interaction between webinars and LMSs. That's actually a very good question, but I think there's a bigger relation between LMSs and Zoom, because LMS as a training platform lends itself towards someone sitting and talking, and is more sort of a controlled environment. Most LMSs rather use meeting platforms to do that. However, that said, where webinars play a very nice role with e-learning is where a lecturer wants to do a public talk to his audience. And it's really as simple as giving a link. In other words, what we've done webinars and learner management systems jointly with our e-learning company. And the way that we do it is, let's say at the end of a module, all the students must have done the assignments, let's say by Friday morning. And then what I'll do is I'll set up a webinar for later that day, and I'll basically just take the link into the LMS and arrange with them that they all need to do. So you can definitely link these different platforms, and there's a very logical link between a learner management system and webinars and Zoom. Okay, so let's continue quickly. Now, where does a masterclass come in? So let's quickly look at what is a masterclass. A masterclass, by definition, is a class that is presented by a specialist in his field of speciality using some kind of platform. So obviously it can be face-to-face, which is off now, but it's definitely now video-based. So from the different platforms, a webinar platform lends itself the best probably for a masterclass. The application for it is obviously on all types of industries, from business, entrepreneurial stuff, faith. We've got, you can do a masterclass on faith, health and fitness, inspirational type talks. And the masterclasses are actually quite powerful now, because you've got the ability as a speaker and knowledgeable on your thing to also build a visual rapport. That is very difficult to do over a telephone. So you guys can at the moment see I've got my Zoom suit on. I don't know if you guys have seen the Zoom suit, but this is my Zoom suit. I won't pan the camera further down because maybe you see, but I do have a coffee, so I hope you guys are sorted out. But obviously you guys can know a little bit more about myself as a presenter doing a video-based thing. So a masterclass is effectively what we would say a webinar just turned into strong training content. And there's another benefit, and that is that there's a natural perception where webinars are free, but there's an even better perception that masterclasses cost money, which means that once you've built a rapport, you can obviously start charging for your webinars as you would charge as an instructor for e-learning class or presenting. So believe it or not, I've got my next poll already lined up. There we go. Okay, so the next poll is, are you currently a specialist? So I don't know from all the speakers, but it's interesting to see, do you guys, absolutely, I need to start sharing my information, not at all, still placing myself and my knowledge, or I prefer to look and listen and learn myself. So it's all different levels of where you see yourself. So the guys of you that know me, I've got no problem talking and being a public speaker and training. I think personally I'm quite knowledgeable about marketing, sales, and that sort of interaction. But where are you guys? I must say I'm very glad to see that you guys are all quite comfortable with your knowledge. You're ready to share. in which case I would definitely invite you to, if you haven't already, to apply to be a speaker on WeSpeak, which is a speaker platform to try and allow speakers a little bit broader exposure. So, okay, that said, now let's quickly, how do you then do your masterclass? So this is sort of the last portion of my chat, not very complex, and it's very much like the slide says, prepare, prepare, prepare. What I found is that I'm a public speaker, public and paid for, maybe keynote speaker, and what I find is talking in this format is completely different from talking to an audience. Obviously, I can't get any feedback straight from you guys. I can't focus on the guy that's falling asleep. I don't know if any of you guys are falling asleep. Let's see. Well, at least if you're typing, then I know that I know you're not falling asleep. But I used to do that in my presentations, is that if I look around a room and I see someone that's falling asleep, I would always pick on them, just wake them up. But the reality is that it's quite difficult. So from a masterclass perspective, you really need to know your content. You also need to know your presentation, your style, your introduction, and it's all prepare, prepare, prepare. You can't get around that. Then what I also do is I structure my documentation a little bit differently than I would on a face-to-face training session. On a face-to-face training session, as a small example, I'll use PowerPoint. Now, most of you guys know PowerPoint or Google Slides, where I can see the slides that are coming up. So I can sort of use my slides as a cue, and maybe I've got a slide behind me. So I've got a lot more cues if I do a face-to-face type of talk. On a webinar, I don't have that. I can't, you guys will see it's quite distracting if I now talk to you and I have to constantly go down because I don't have a moderator. So I find that people that start with webinars find themselves a little bit off foot because the technology is so different. But once you've done one or two, I mean, you're rock and rolling and you literally like the hero of your talk. So the talk takes up quite a lot of your energy, as it would. And okay, so that sort of is the masterclass. Now, where does the online conference come in? Well, we've realized that if you've got masterclasses or maybe free webinars, if you string them together, which now becomes a scheduling opportunity, you basically have a conference. You've got an online conference. So we always say that you take a couple of speakers, you take a date and maybe a price, and poof, you've got an online conference. So we're running our first WeSpeak online conference a little bit later this week. One of the guys currently in the session is one of our speakers, Philip. Thank you for being a speaker on our upcoming conference. And this is not a hard sell, but I'd really like you guys to join the conference. It's Wednesday, Thursday, so I missed the holidays, thank goodness. I should have looked at my calendar better, but we've sold quite a lot of tickets. It isn't a free one because we've got masterclasses. The masterclasses are presented by really well qualified content specialists. You can't get away from that. So it's $295 for the whole conference, 12 masterclasses, and we're testing the whole online conference method using our WeSpeak tech and signing up. But it's really not. It's you basically get 12 masterclasses for the price of $295. Yeah, if you basically take your webinars, which are single events, your masterclasses that might be single events, or there might be a theme, you put them together and you've got an online conference. So I really invite you guys to get in touch with myself or with WeSpeak so that we can set up more conferences. We can basically, as we speak, we're going to run an online conference at the end of each month. So this month, it's called The New Entrepreneur for the New Normal. 8 speakers, 12 masterclasses, fantastic. Next month, we're doing the theme of the online conference is all about selling, because we want to get everyone that's stuck at home, especially entrepreneurs and business people, to realize that it's about selling product or services, and on we go. But we invite speakers or people in industry to put together a bunch of speakers and to run it as a conference. It's not difficult to do. So let's say I've got a good friend that's in project management. Nothing stops them from, if you know 6 people, put them together. We've got an online conference and you can start selling tickets for it. Really, really, really great, great opportunity for you guys to get going on a either paid webinar or conference. So, lastly, I see we're up to 19 minutes. Let's do one more poll. Okay, so my next poll is, if you could, what would you prefer to attend? Would you prefer to attend keep on going free webinars? Would you whip out your credit card and do paid masterclasses? Or would you prefer an online conference, which is obviously a couple of these things, let's say on one day, back to back? So we've got masterclasses, conference, more for the conference. So what's interesting is for myself, when I started, some of you guys might know that's following me on LinkedIn, is beginning with the lockdown. I've been trying for a long time to get into the webinars, but I'm so busy developing and stuff, I never got to it. And then with the lockdown, I put myself on a 10-day challenge to develop the WeSpeak platform, and I'm very proud that little sleep and a lot of coffee, I was able to take WeSpeak from literally a blank domain onto a full-blown system. And it's been a fantastic learning curve, but what I found is that it seems that it's also easier for anyone to charge for a conference than it is for a masterclass. So originally we started at WeSpeak with free webinars, which is great, but we can't really monetize it with our speakers. But as soon as you turn it into a masterclass, you've got all these individual events. So it seems that for us, it'll go towards advertising a conference, which might be able to monetize it for our speakers a little bit better. But it's really going to be interesting to see how that works out. So thanks a lot. I just quickly want to go through the answers. We've got free webinars, masterclasses, online conference. The clear winner is paid masterclasses and the conferences. Thank you for giving me that feedback. That sort of brings me to the end. And just a final thought on joining our new entrepreneur. Not as a hard pitch, but I also want to introduce our affiliate program to you guys. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware of an affiliate program. An affiliate program is a great mechanism for any company to have their followers on-sell their products. So I've set up in last week only, I've set up an affiliate program, and what that does is it allows you as the listener or the speaker to sell our product. In other words, if you have a network, you can basically sell our tickets for the conference, and you literally real-time get your 20-30% commission on each ticket sold. So I'm going to give you the link now to look at our landing page for the upcoming conference. Let me just fire it off there. There we go. So that's our landing page for the upcoming conference. It's called it's called The New Entrepreneur for the New Normal. We've got a ton of tickets sold already. It's our first one, and it's only been thought up last week. So I was able to, on a short notice, get quite a lot of presenters together. It's going to be fantastic. It's a really new experience for myself and my team. It runs this Wednesday, Thursday. And if you want to be an affiliate, so if you've got a really strong following on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, apply to be an affiliate. I mean, it's a great revenue generator for people that need work, that are currently without a job or looking for job security. You can definitely just on-sell our stuff. That's also what has made Amazon as big as it is. So that brings me to sort of the end of my presentation. I just want to see if there's another. I usually don't go by slides, but that's sort of my last one, is that what's coming for WeSpeak is we're focusing on more specialist speakers, we're adding on more topics, we're adding on tons of more events, and then obviously our affiliate program, which is a really big invitation for anyone to join us. And that, I think, brings me to the end of my little webinar this morning. So again, we're standing on 24 minutes. My webinars are between 20 and 30 minutes long. So at this stage, I really like to thank you guys for attending. Everyone in South Africa, I know you've taken off your time on Freedom Day. What shall we say? Congratulations. But I really appreciate you guys giving me your 20 minutes for today. This video is available within about half an hour as a recorded video on our YouTube channel. And you can go and watch it. And I again invite you guys to register for our online conference and to become an affiliate member. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna just hang around for about 10 seconds on the video side. Just for anyone that's got questions, I'm leaving the chat open. Let's see. I've got a Do I have any questions? You guys have any questions? You're welcome to quickly touch on them. On the thank you, Dion. It's great. It's very nice. Thank you that you joined. Simon from Cape Town, Charlotte. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. I mean, really thank you for it, and go well and enjoy the rest of your day. This was episode 26 of our webinar, our We Speak webinars. And the next one, I can't remember the number, but the next one will most probably be next week after our online conference. So thanks a lot, go well, and enjoy the rest of your day.